We have rules for all these areas. We have rules for all these areas in place now. Well, then how's it increasing? Because people are not following the rules. Better safe than sorry. I would not send my child to a school in a hotspot cluster that has not been tested, where I did not have proof that the infection rate was low in that school. I would not send my child. I am not going to recommend or allow any New York City family to send their child to a school that I wouldn't send my child. We're going to close the schools in those areas tomorrow. I'll do it. I had to close the St. Patrick's Day parade. I did it. I'll do it. But none of these rules are going to make a darn if you don't have the enforcement. Another issue that came up on the phone, which is right. Targeting by zip codes is imperfect. The virus doesn't travel by zip codes. Neighborhoods and communities aren't organized by zip codes. Zip codes can be arbitrary and can leave out some communities that are infected. Zip codes can include communities that have a low infection rate. This is a zip code in Brooklyn. The white areas are inside the zip code, but we have the infection rate by address. You have areas in that zip code that aren't infected. You then have areas outside the zip code that are infected. So the zip code as a template is rough justice, but only rough justice.
How to stop this spread dead in its tracks. And it is part of learning from what worked before and applying it in a very pinpoint manner. Now, the state has agreed on the need to close public and non-public schools in the 9 highest risk zip codes. So that will happen effective now tomorrow morning. That's an update now. The state determined they would rather have the schools closed tomorrow morning, so at the end of the school day today, those schools will be closed, public and non-public, in the 9 zip codes. And again, we're going to work hard to turn around those 9 zip codes so that in the coming weeks, kids will be able to come back to school. We've also presented a plan for closing down non-essential businesses in those zip codes. We're continuing to work with the governor's team on that plan. The proposal I put on the table is the basis of discussion. 9 zip codes close all non-essential businesses. Governor's team are considering if they have alterations they want to make to that geography or to the approach. But until we hear otherwise, our plan is to move ahead Wednesday morning with enforcement in those 9 zip codes of all non-essential businesses. We will continue to work with the state in the meantime to get to a final resolution. Now, the important thing here is to remember, the state has a role to play, the city has a role to play, but the biggest role will be played by all of you, by everyday New Yorkers in these 9 zip codes and beyond. So it goes back